Greetings from SpiritQuest Sedona Retreats, the place for healing, self-growth, and relationship repair. Thanks for joining us. Greetings. Today I'd like to talk about repairing dysfunctional family dynamics. By doing this, we can take a look at those things that are very unhealthy in the family, subconsciously or consciously, and learn to free ourselves, to gain that autonomy in life and in how we view ourselves. And we can do this through gaining new tools for repairing the family dynamic. I'd like to first talk about British biologist Rupert Sheldrake, who studied both at Cambridge and Harvard, and has written over 100 scientific papers and 9 books. He is best known for his theory of Morphic Resonance. He published a book in 1981 called A New Science of Life. And in this book, he talks about morphic resonance, which basically means that there's a family field that carries transgenerational memory and unconscious influences from family members. In other words, once a family member, always a family member. But the dynamics of it can change and can become very unhealthy. And that's what we want to take a look at today. This concept was also picked up by systemic family therapist Virginia Satir, and later in the 70s by German psychotherapist Bert Hellinger. You know, Rupert Sheldrake talks about the orders of love, and these were incorporated by Hellinger in his family constellation work. By combining these two, we get a therapeutic approach with the purpose really of uncovering hidden dynamics in families that cause emotional or psychological pain and dysfunction. So when we talk about this morphogenetic field, it's an invisible field that acts as collective memory, which transmits characteristics across both space and time. This means that within a family system, there might be invisible loyalties that form. We may not even be aware of these loyalties. These loyalties can be very healthy or very unhealthy. When they align with family values and expectations, such as caring for an elderly parent, that's very healthy. But when they are hidden, such as family secrets, unspoken truths, or imaginary debts, these can be very unhealthy. Let me give you an example of that. A family member who unconsciously chooses a violent partner out of invisible loyalty to a mother who also experienced domestic violence. You know, sometimes we phrase it another way, saying, this is what I know because this is what my mother did, and this is what I was exposed to as a child. That's a way of framing it. But basically, this is an unconscious loyalty. So, really, without realizing it, a person may spend their lives trying to fix an old family drama or pay a debt that does not belong to them. In addition, there may be unconscious entanglements. So, This would be a repetition of patterns and symptoms or destinies from one generation to the next. So when Sheldrake speaks of the orders of love, he's talking about the orders that need to be in place in order to have a healthy family dynamic. These orders are the order of belonging, to feel like we belong, to feel like there's order in the system with the hierarchies. In other words, the mother and father remain mother and fathers. The child doesn't become the mother or the father. These roles are not, moved around. The hierarchy stays in place. And also the balance between giving and taking in the family. So the whole point of focusing on hidden dynamics is to free ourselves from invisible loyalties that limit us. This way we can develop conscious, chosen loyalties that connect us to ourselves, to others, and life in a free and loving way. At SpiritQuest, there's several popular sessions that deal with family dynamics. One is the DNA light body activation, which looks at the family history, the ancestry, the lineage. It looks at maybe even past life lineage, and it looks at what the present day lineage, what we're bringing to the lineage. That one allows us to dive in and see what may be in our genetic makeup, may be in our framework that may be healthy and unhealthy, where we can shift it and reframe it. We also have Healing the Family from Within, which is about looking deeply within ourselves and addressing these issues and moving out of the chaos and giving that whatever the issue is back to the person that's dealing with it, and not trying to be too involved in everyone else's journey, everyone else's karma, everyone else's path, but to claim our own and to have sympathy and compassion, but to stand strong in the freedom and autonomy of our own lives and our own dynamics. And then we do have family dynamics, which specifically dives into those dynamics. These usually are done with partners or family members, but it can be done alone. And these help with any conflicts or the sense of belonging or not belonging in that family system. So let's look at some unhealthy patterns that may form in family dynamics. The first is triangulation, where two people in a family who are in conflict involve a third person to avoid direct confrontation. That's the key. So instead of being transparent and going directly to the person, a family member might instead confide in somebody else. That way they don't really have to work through it. They don't really have to have the confrontation. However, then nothing will be solved. So an example of this is like an angry father confiding in a son, thereby forming an alliance against a mother. The next unhealthy dynamic I'd like to talk about are coalitions. Coalitions are when two family members purposely form an alliance against a third. For example, two sisters gang up against a brother. This, again, may be conscious or unconscious. But when there's a coalition, the third person feels left out, is not included, and feel ganged up on. The next dysfunction I'd like to talk about is designating a scapegoat in the family. When there is a scapegoat, then this is a member onto whom all problems and tensions of the family are projected. There may be a dislike of this person, of their lifestyle, or whatever it is, and they become the scapegoat. They become the one that is taking the brunt of the family dysfunction. So, when these types of dysfunctional patterns are there, it is the first point of action really is awareness, understanding that the dynamic's there. And sometimes we have to reach out to coaches, to professional help to explore these dynamics and to understand that they're there, and then to remedy them or to back away from them, to find that freedom and autonomy that is rightfully yours so that you can in the future pass down a healthy lineage and a healthy family system. So by working with a spiritual coach, you can bring about a reconciliation through grace where wounds and resentments transform into compassion and unconditional love. This is what SpiritQuest deals with so much of the time. We see ourselves as relationship experts because we do explore relationships with self, with another, and with the family system. This is where the right of belonging is reestablished, the order and hierarchy is restored, and the balance of giving and receiving is embraced. So, in restoring the health of family dynamics, the result is a more expansive consciousness where everything is connected and apparent divisions dissolve. We would love to help you restore this healthy family dynamic, and you can reach out to us today if you would like to do this and get some help finding that freedom and that beauty and serenity that you deserve. Thanks for listening today.